All right, fools. I just want to start fresh.
I like it. That's solid.
2020. You know.
Damn.
Yeah, new year, new decade. What'd you say?
Said, all right, sucker. Let's get a podcast on.
All right. Welcome to the Conspiracy Cast, a title that may be changing soon. Just heads up. Heads up. A show that we do right here on Tales of Earth, the channel that you have clicked on. It's a show basically where we take a mystery or an oddity or a conspiracy of some kind and we kind of unwrap it like a Christmas gift sent by Krampus. You can support us by going to Patreon or by subscribing to the channel. I'm throwing myself off again because you guys are laughing.
You're going off
when
the
you guys,
script. You're going off script.
I know.
Off script hard, too.
I know. I am on purpose because
Hit me.
who cares?
That is true.
Conspiracy today
I care so
is,
much.
did Gary get back on gluten?
That's what it is.
Maybe I did. Okay, so you can support us by subscribing to this channel, or you can support us by going over to patreon.com/comicstorian, where you can get this video early and other stuff early as well. You can also support us by getting some Tales of Earth merch and Comicstorian merch and things like that, like this shirt here, by following the link below. You can find Glorp Dan.
That's me.
Glorp
I'm
Andy.
Dainty Producer.
Yes.
Glow up yourself.
At their various social medias, also linked below.
Indeed.
So I learned today, guys, that the Illuminati operate by code names. This is not the show. This is just a little fact I wanted to throw in here.
Like president, prime minister.
Yes.
These are the code names for the Illuminati.
Yeah. So your code name as the President of the United States is President of the United States.
No one will figure it out.
No one will figure it out.
In this way, you won't forget it.
Yes. Actually, no. Your
That's
code
the
name is
trick.
going to be POTUS. What does that stand for?
Yeah.
It stands for President of the United States. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. My code name is Glorp Gary. No one will know.
It's true.
They wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's a new year. I'm Dan Glorp.
Oh.
It's my last name now. I'm a Glorp.
Interesting.
You're a Glorp.
Hashtag Glorp life.
I got that tattoo over the break, by the
Did
way.
you?
Yeah,
Hashtag
on my
Glorp
lower,
life.
on my lower back. Yeah.
It's his
You mean
tramp
your
stamp. It's his Glorp stamp.
Yeah, there's my Glorp
Sounds
stamp.
awful.
No,
That
yeah,
doesn't sound right
that
at all.
sounds
Yeah,
really
let's
bad.
just keep going.
All right, so
Podcast.
today's show is about like forbidden archaeology. Have you guys heard of forbidden archaeology?
I mean,
Indiana
I've heard,
Jones related
I've heard,
things.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard
Aliens?
the term. I don't really know what it means.
Yeah.
I would assume it means you dig for stuff you're not supposed to.
Yeah, that's kind of
much.
what I was guessing.
So
Yeah,
for
like
men-
illegally
yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah,
countries and
Indiana Jones.
acquire things.
You Jonesing it up.
Indiana
That
style.
should be a thing.
Indiana style.
That should be the next Indiana Jones movie. Indiana Jones, Jonesing it up. So forbidden archaeology is basically, it's a category of archaeology. It's not an official category of archaeology, but it's a category where you discuss essentially or write about things and conclusions that do not jive with the rest of academia and the archaeological world.
Okay.
So if you have a discovery, if you found something and you carbon date it, for example,
Right.
and it proves that it's much older, like tools or something, that
Right,
it's much
right.
older than any other claim or theory out there.
Why is it called forbidden archaeology?
Because basically it is. So if you subscribe to a lot of like forbidden concepts, forbidden ideas, and the archaeological world, you essentially get kind of ostracized by the archaeological community
all right.
Right.
because you don't line up with the kind of
With the mainstream idea
Right.
of
right
the past or whatever. Yeah.
And so
You're
a
that
lot
last
of
dentist that doesn't
Right.
recommend
Yep,
the.
yep.
so
That's-
ancient aliens would be considered one.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Concept.
I got you.
So Indiana
other-
Jones
yes.
is a forbidden archaeologist. then.
Yes, mainly because he destroys everything he comes into contact
That too.
with. Like he's actually a terrible, truly
He really
awful
is.
archaeologist. Actually, most movie archaeologists are.
Most,
Like
most
he's-
archaeologists are like
the
lightly
Nazis.
dust, and then Indiana Jones like whip,
yeah,
fly across boulder.
yeah. So I found this temple, and I, as most archaeologists do, I put some TNT in there.
Yeah,
Sure.
And
How
I
else do you
blew
get
it
in
up.
an temple?
I couldn't get in.
I couldn't get
belongs
in.
in a
so I-
museum. No, Indiana, it belongs in the hands of the indigenous people.
Yes.
Who its history is part of.
Yeah, no, museum. Yeah, an American museum. That's where it belongs. So I've actually found this very interesting list of the 25 most mysterious archaeological finds on Earth.
Ooh.
Now, the reason forbidden archaeology fits into this is that when you find an archaeological mystery that has no clear answers, the more oddball your answers or your theories are, the more kind of into forbidden archaeology you get.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yes.
And then there are like safe theories, so like ancient aliens built the pyramids versus the Egyptians built the pyramids.
No.
That's what we're talking about.
The latter is the
So-
forbidden.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's absurd.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, people. Okay, so first one is the stone spheres in Costa Rica. Giant stone spheres, some dating as far back as AD. Also, this comes from livescience.com, which is where we get most of our articles here. Giant stone spheres, some dating as far back as AD 600. Pepper the Dikis Delta of southern
Oh,
Costa.
AD 600. I was like, AD 600?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yes. These are stones that travel back in time.
Ah.
That would be
So,
forbidden archaeology.
that would be forbidden
They
archaeology,
actually
yes.
started as mountains, but going back in time, it eroded them
Yes,
into
exactly.
spheres.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Delta of southern Costa Rica, known locally as Las Bolas, the Balls. That's a clever name. These monuments were the works of a pre-Columbian civilization. Most are made from gabbro, a rock that forms from molten magma. The people who carved the stones into their perfectly spherical shapes likely did so using other small stones, according to archaeologists who study the ancient rocks. Many non-experts, I like how they say that there, have speculated that the so-called Dikis spheres were used for astronomical purposes, while others think they may have pointed the way to significant places. The truth is that no one knows for sure. The Kikbin people, who once populated Costa Rica and other parts of Central America, vanished in the wake of the Spanish conquest, and the purpose of the spheres vanished with them.
Quick note,
yes,
using a spherical object to point the direction of something is not the best way to do it.
Yes.
I could see it
There's
as like
nothing
a...
pointing.
Where should I go?
Yeah, I'm surprised
Yeah.
they put pointed, because I could see it as like a
A
marker
like
for...
this is something. Yeah,
like
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the middle of the equator, so we put this here.
Right.
Right.
I don't know how they
I
would
was
have
gonna s-
known.
yeah, well.
Actually, I saw a video. Apparently, the equator, like water, doesn't go down.
Okay.
Fun fact.
Flush, it's not going down.
It was actually kind of cool. I saw a video. They look, honestly, my first thought when I saw them was, oh, that's where Target gets those balls they put out front.
Oh yeah, they just pick them up.
They were
paint
like,
'em red.
who's using this? No one?
No one? Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you think they'll notice if we,
I'm
yeah.
just going to take it out.
You think they'll notice if we take some? Yeah, they got like 100 of them.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
I would love, though, if they weren't actually created. It was actually just like a rock that was at the top of a mountain.
Just kind of roll.
And like rolled and
Slowly
kind of
rolled
like
down.
Yeah.
wore itself down.
I mean, realistically, I guess it could erode over time. But to become a perfect sphere would be very
Right.
difficult.
If it
Yeah.
like it would have to be a very specific like water
Well,
Yeah,
related.
something happened. Yeah.
Right, and they're not perfect spheres. If you look at them,
Yeah, I was
they're
gonna say,
they're
it doesn't-
very
yeah, they're-
imperfect.
They're more hexagonal.
Good.
Hexagonal. I like.
Hexagonal.
I like hexagonal. Is my favorite one.
Hexagonal.
All right. What's the next
Okay.
one?
The next one is the Antikythera mechanism.
Sure.
These
Like
names are great.
like something
I'm gonna
from
start
a.
naming stuff.
You should.
Become a forbidden archaeologist.
Yeah. Why not?
Apparently,
Like-
you don't have to be an expert.
You
know.
don't actually
Yeah.
know. Yeah. To become like an accredited archaeologist, yes, you probably need to go to school.
And a duster.
But to be a forbidden
the
archaeologist,
key.
nah.
Yeah.
So you're a forbidden archaeologist and a cryptozoologist. Yeah. So
Doing real well in my life.
self-proclaimed.
I'm actually
yeah.
a cryptoarchaeologist. Cryptarchaeologist.
I like it.
Like from Krypton.
Huh? You'll never know.
Yeah. Like something from a fantastical treasure movie, the discovery of the Antikythera mechanism remains a major archaeological head-scratcher. Found in the sunken wreckage of a Greek cargo ship that is at least 2,000 years old, the circular bronze artifact contains a maze of interlocking gears and mysterious characters etched all over its exposed faces. Originally thought to be a kind of navigational astrolabe, archaeologists continue to uncover its uses and now know that it was, at the very least, a highly intricate astronomical calendar. It is still the most sophisticated device ever found from that period, preceding the next appearance of a similar device, or of similar devices by 1,000 years. So it's basically, yeah. I mean, it looks like an astronomical calendar. So Google
Yeah,
the
it looks like a
Antikythera
very
mechanism.
old.
Be funny if like
Like,
all
yes.
this stuff we're
tracking.
trying to figure out is like a novelty device. Just like
Look at
It
what
was
this does.
It was
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
like a
novelty
little
gift.
toy they just
Yeah,
give to their kids.
yeah.
They're like, "I play with this. I made
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
don't even know what it does."
spins.
They're like,
Yeah. Well, it's like
well, go backwards.
it's like when archaeologists find like carvings or like clay dolls of some kind that look strange. Oh, it must be ancient aliens. Or a kid got his hand on some clay
and made a toy.
Yeah, made a toy and made mom and dad like fire it, and there you go. That's why it looks so strange. Cleopatra's tomb is still a mystery. Cleopatra VII was the last of a series of rulers called the Ptolemies, who ruled Egypt between 305 and 30 BC. Much is known about their intelligence, beauty, and romantic relationships. She had children with both Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. But one fact about Cleopatra is still shrouded in mystery: her burial place. Cleopatra and Antony both committed suicide after their former ally Octavian defeated them at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. The two were buried together at a site that the writer Plutarch, AD 45 to 120, described as a lofty and beautiful monument located near a temple of the Egyptian goddess Isis. But exactly where this tomb is located remains a mystery. If anyone ever finds the lover's tomb, there's a chance it might be empty, as grave robbery was not uncommon in ancient times. Also, grave robbery was very common even up into the early 20th century.
Yes.
According to archaeologists. So if you go to the Valley of Kings, where most of the rulers and pharaohs of Egypt were buried, archaeologists had an extremely difficult time finding anything because most of it had been robbed by the time like English and American
because they're like
archaeologists got
buried
there.
with all their treasure.
Yeah.
Right. Back then, they're like,
they didn't
I don't
care.
care.
Yeah.
They're like, it's just a dead body.
Right. That's gold.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why King Tut's tomb was so important when we originally discovered it, because it was like
It still had
intact.
the
It had
knot,
everything
right?
in it. Yeah.
Yep.
And they were like,
it was unmarked too.
Yeah.
So
I always find it funny when they're like, no one knows where this tomb is, but we know it exists because this guy wrote about it. It's like, okay, well, how did he know about it?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, did he go to the location? Because he's
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
like, there's just so many of those.
Yeah.
Turns out they
Man,
were actually
yeah.
cremated.
Yeah, if only we could find this ancient location that has, the only document we have that talks about this ancient location says that it's here. But that can't be right.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's not check that out.
That would be stupid.
That would be stupid. We need to find it on our own.
Yeah.
Using clues somewhere else.
I like it. Solid plan.
Yeah. Number 3, I guess. Qin Shi Huang's tomb. In 1974, farmers in China's Shaanxi province accidentally unearthed one of the biggest archaeological finds of the 20th century, the life-size terracotta army of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. 295 BC to 210 BC. Everyone recognizes this iconic image of the terracotta soldiers.
Yeah, it looks like Hellboy.
Rows and rows and rows.
Army.
Yeah, I think they also did that in The Mummy 3.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. Still haven't come to life.
I think they did in Scorpion King too.
Probably.
Pretty much, if it's ever related to like ancient Egypt, there's always like a unawakened army underneath the ground that needs a proper ruler.
Yeah.
Who then loses control.
I think this emperor was a lot like Benny and just like bought a bunch of statues and just collected them. And just kept them all safe in one area.
He actually had like he had 5 people in his army, and he just put a bunch of mannequins and just spread them out.
That's what it was.
So it looked like some of them were moving. So they're clearly.
I like this image of somebody being like, Emperor, why do you keep getting these things? He's like, they'll protect me in afterlife or something. I don't.
Well, I ordered one.
Drunk too.
He was actually like, well, I thought I ordered just one, but they sent me 100.
It was
I was
like
like,
a shipping error.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I missed the return policy.
Yeah.
It was the whole
I put how many in my cart?
Damn it. That stupid thing won't refresh.
Oh, they don't do refunds. The intricately carved figures aren't a mystery. Historians know that the clay army was created to defend China's first emperor in the afterlife. What wasn't known, however, is where exactly the emperor is buried or what treasures his burial chamber might contain. Which one of these is the emperor? Sorry.
Is it the one with 80 bajillion statues in it? Nah, that's not it.
Yeah, that's not it. A pyramid-shaped mausoleum is located about a mile to the northeast of where the terracotta army was discovered. However, no one has actually entered the mausoleum that holds Qin Shi Huang's remains. So they can but can't confirm that he's there. The first emperor's final resting place.
Because of his ghost.
They cannot confirm nor deny.
Yeah, what?
Because of his spirit will haunt them and try to kill them.
Basically, that's just an ancient tomb.
No.
Yeah, all ancient tombs.
Spirits.
Yeah,
Seen a lot of movies.
Movies don't lie. The first emperor's final resting place is the most opulent tomb ever constructed in China, according to the ancient documents describing its construction. An underground palace complete with a surrounding kingdom. The mausoleum is made up of a network of caves and even included a state-of-the-art drainage system.
In case the statues need to use the bathroom.
Yes. Yep. Whether archaeologists will ever have the technology they need to safely excavate the tomb, I don't know what kind of technology you would need, which also happens to contain extremely high levels of mercury. Wow. Remains a mystery, as do the many treasures that lay inside.
I mean, I got dynamite. We could probably figure this out real quick.
You got what?
Dynamite?
Yeah. Just call up Indy. Jonesing it up.
Stuff like that, I'm always very impressed that back then they were capable of essentially creating an entire palace underground.
Yeah.
That's such a bizarre thing to think about and actually be able to succeed in doing way back then when they didn't have the same structural capacity.
Right.
And the fact that it survived this long is another
it's impressive.
Incredibly impressive.
Right. And it's interesting how a lot of these ancient structures that the ancient people themselves probably quickly forgot how they were made. There's a church in Ethiopia that was carved out of the ground. So it's literally one piece of stone that they just carved out of the earth. And there's a way to get down there and everything, but the local people believe that angels built it, which would make sense because if you don't have the same kind of record keeping that we do today,
then you don't know how they actually
somebody
built it.
figured it out, they did it, and then it was just left
and they probably
forgotten.
looked at it the same way I am of there's no way people could figure out how to do this or have the patience to carve into a rock to make that.
Yeah. Well, you imagine, let's say we create something like AI and then we die off and then some other version of us comes along, they're primitive and they look at our AI and what are they going to think about it?
They're going to be like, these are gods.
Yeah. How did they make, they created life.
Wait a second. Isn't that Horizon Zero Dawn?
I guess probably.
I've never played it.
No, that I think about it. Because it's a similar to that of everyone above ground is very primitive.
Yes.
The beasts in the land are some sort of mechanical thing. No one knows what it is, and your character's a big deal because they find an underground cavern thing with a bunch of technology, and they're like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. I hate it when that happens. Atlantis. The lost city of Atlantis has been discovered in the Bahamas, the Greek islands, Cuba, and even Japan, if every claim was to be believed. First described by the ancient Greek historian Plato in 360 BC, the mythological island was supposedly a great naval power before sinking into the sea over 10,000 years ago in a catastrophic event. Or Plato was just giving somebody an idea for a screenplay that he had.
He'd been drinking a little too much about those lead cups.
More wine. This is good.
This is going to be good, guys. Yeah. Ready? Civilization sunk.
What? Archaeologists debate the actual historical existence of the island as well as its most plausible location if it ever actually existed among the many sunken ruins discovered around the world. But even without definitive proof, Atlantis continues to engage the popular imagination like few other archaeological mysteries out there. And again, Atlantis is one of those things that we tend to tie to ancient aliens a lot.
Or ancient advanced civilizations.
Yeah, ancient advanced civilizations. Aquaman.
Kull the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Namor.
I
will say the Atlantis one I've always liked because I feel like of a lot of the more conspiracy kind of ideas of these, it's the slightly more plausible, not in the sense of advanced technology, aliens,
but
stuff like
possibly
that.
A civilization kind of
civilization sank, and we can't find it because the ocean is so deep that we're even now going, oh man, we just found this down there. And so that's something I really, really like about the Atlantis theories is because it truly is we cannot confirm nor deny that it's down there, and we probably won't ever be able to because it's so it would be so deep, and potentially like either eroded or, I mean, the ocean currents have moved it. For all we know, all those locations are correct.
It's just rumbling.
But the currents have like pushed it away and stuff like that. And it's always been one that I really, really enjoy the idea.
Well, and even like you consider like plate tectonics could have moved things.
Exactly. Like there's so many factors that make it possible.
Could have taken
parts of it.
Well, because I mean, like you said, the tectonic of, well, a lot of continents were one continent that then shifted out and could have easily done that, and the island's just in the middle. And I was like, crap.
If what I find interesting, I think it's India. If you look at, so people have shown animations of Pangea splitting. Yeah, and India basically comes out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And if an entire country can come out of nowhere, I think an island can disappear.
Yeah, because I mean, we're even still in the current boat of. We discover new islands.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's what I find fascinating is that we look at the map of the world and we consider that, we think about that, and we kind of construct this image in our mind that wraps around the world or wraps around the globe. It doesn't. If you look at the Earth from the right angle, it looks like a planet of just water.
Yeah.
So if you came up on the Earth and you looked at it in just the right space, you'd be like, oh, there's nobody here. And there's a lot of ocean that can hide a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing what we are still discovering in the water.
I hope we find Atlantis one day. I think that would just be super cool.
I hope it rises back up.
It's actually going to be in the future of the lost city of Atlanta.
Atlanta.
In Futurama, they separate and then they sing. And they become mermaids thanks to the Coke factory.
Sweet. Yeah. Ancient animal traps. Low stone walls crisscrossing the deserts of Israel, Egypt, and the Jordan have puzzled archaeologists since their discovery by pilots in the early 20th century. The chain of lines sum up to 40 miles long and nicknamed kites by scientists for their appearance from the air date to 300 BC, but were abandoned long ago. The mystery might be somewhat clearer thanks to a recent study claiming that the purpose of the kites was to funnel wild animals toward a small pit. Where they could easily be killed in large numbers. The efficient system suggests that local hunters knew more about the behavior of local fauna than previously thought. Yeah, that was a pretty common practice we've actually found for hunting.
Like gathering them
into the killing pits.
Yeah, into the pits or like off a cliff.
Sure. I mean, heck, we still do it with fishing you put a net in a river so that all of them just flow directly into the net.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can imagine being an ancient human, very ancient human, and like sending mammoths off the cliffside and then looking at each other going like, okay, who wants to go get it? You know?
Man, I didn't know this cliff was that high.
They're like, man.
Ooh, yeah, nose ghosts. What are you doing? I just invented nose ghosts.
I always got to climb down the cliffs to get the mammoth meat.
And they're also like, nose ghosts, last week you did dibs. How many of these are you going to come up with?
As many as I need to get my way.
This man is a genius. Make him head of the tribe.
Yes. He started doing this thing called, what'd you call it? Running? Yeah. Genius.
It's way faster than the walking we were doing.
Got a lot of sweet ideas, guys. Got a lot of sweet ideas.
Oh, man. My latest idea that got him burned as a heretic was writing.
Great.
You guys are going to love my next invention. Okay, from the ground. Okay, so this is Nazca lines, which I believe have actually been explained. From the ground, the Nazca lines of Peru are nothing spectacular, however, seen from the air, from which they were first spotted by commercial aircraft in the 1920s and 30s. I can imagine all the things we started discering from the air.
When we could start flying.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
Wow.
What the hell?
It's just left and right.
They're just going over and they're like, wait, we were over here? It was like grass and animals over here. Why don't we just move?
What's that giant hole leading to the center of the earth? Yeah, let's ignore that.
Let's ignore that one and go this way.
Archaeologists agree.
Put some pyramids on top.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Put some pyramids on top. Oh, the pyramids are plugs to the center of the earth.
They're actually like diamond shape, and they're plugging them up.
That makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's where all the water went from the desert. just drained.
They were like, we got to plug this up. We're loose in the water.
Oh no! Archaeologists agree the enormous shapes. There are hundreds of them, ranging from geometric lines to complicated depictions of animals, plants, and imaginary figures, were made over 2,000 years ago by the people of the pre-Inca Nazca culture, who simply removed the red surface pebbles to reveal the lighter earth below in designs of their choice. Just why they did it remains enigmatic, prompting conspiracy theorists to float ideas about alien landings and ancient astrology. The lions were more likely to have been a ritual communication method with the Nazca deities, say archaeologists, or aliens.
See, so stuff like that, I always kind of find funny that they're like, well, clearly there was a purpose. And it's like, what if they were just bored?
What do you want to do?
Like, because we always, it's not like back then they were like, you know what? Let's be productive every day.
Sure,
and we're going to communicate with aliens. We're going to do that. It's like, no. Like,
just like
they
one guy
drew
started
on
like
caves.
just like moving the rocks and he's like, Dave, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just some guy walking and just like, oh, that's kind of cool. The cave's already filled with drawings. I'll just come out here.
And then they were like, what is it supposed to be? I think it's going to be a big bird.
Big bird.
But to be honest,
I don't know.
It's like a hummingbird.
You're
I also
not
don't know
really
what a
going to
bird
notice
is.
it until we're really far up.
I'm trying to communicate with the birds by making a bird.
By making a big bird.
Big bird.
I just always find stuff like that funny. That it's
Big bird.
It's very
Big old bird.
similar to like high school English, where they're like, well, the curtains were.
Let's see where it's going with it.
Okay. Okay. Go.
let me
Yeah,
finish my
I'm
statement.
curious. I'm curious.
Well,
yeah,
like how
okay.
when you read a book and they're like, well, clearly the curtains were purple because
I
the
see. Yeah,
writer
yeah,
was
yeah.
very in a melancholy
Yeah,
mood
yeah.
when writing it. And
Oh, I
it's like,
see.
no,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
curtains
yeah,
were
yeah.
purple.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
stop trying
So it's
to
basically
think
art
in-
analysis.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
feel like a lot of stuff like this is that case of we want it to make sense when it comes
Right,
down
you
to it,
project
though.
your own thought onto it.
Exactly, because I mean,
Clearly, Jackson Pollock was upset when he made this splatter, but he was very calm when he made this splatter.
It's true.
exactly,
I don't understand.
exactly. I always love the
Yeah.
story of the one guy that it was, I think, it was an art gallery for Jackson Pollock, and the
Yeah.
guy like shows up and he's like, "Oh, this red dot
Yeah.
clearly must have been him in the world." And he shows up and goes, "Oh no, that was splashed from when I was painting that one."
Yeah.
But it's always just a
yeah.
lot of these.
Yeah.
It's just like, why not just people were bored? It's not like people
Well,
always do
or-
stuff these days either. People draw. People
Yeah,
are
it's not-
artists. People are creative by nature. Like it's
absolutely.
literally half your brain is for
Well, exactly.
a
Have
creative.
you ever done something? And it's not like there was like government regulation.
Yeah.
That said like you can't. That's owned property over there. You can't do anything over there. It may have
Yeah.
been. I don't know. But
It was. He was just saying,
we-
"Screw you! I'm gonna make
Yeah.
a line, and another line."
sometimes people create things like it's like any art form. You create it because you want to.
Yeah.
There's no deeper meaning.
Yeah,
You just made
exactly.
it, you're like, yeah. So why did you draw Goku? Felt like it.
That would be awesome if, by the way, we saw from the air.
That's what we discover in
heck?
the,
That
in
one's
the ocean.
Goku.
Nice. Was it
You
Super
know-
Saiyan 3? Why'd you give us Super Saiyan 3? Looks weird.
I'm shocked they had anime back then.
Yeah. Anime's
It was actually the inspiration for the anime.
makes
They were-
sense, yeah.
It was. They were finally flying home. They're like,
Yeah.
It's that
was-
spiky
I
haired
think it was called Dragon Ball BC. Come on. That was good. BCE. Okay, politically correct.
Thank
Whatever.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. The Great Pyramids, which we also now know how they were
Plug up
created.
the desert.
To plug up the desert. We'll skip over that one. You're welcome, Internet.
That one's Jesus.
Shroud of Turin, possibly Jesus. Perhaps no. Archaeological discovery is more debated. They say that about every archaeological discovery. Than the enigmatic Shroud of Turin, which many believe to be the burial shroud of Jesus Christ. This long piece of twill cloth bears traces of blood as well as the darkened imprint of a man's body. The Catholic Church officially recorded the existence of the shroud in AD 1353, which is when the cloth showed up in a church in Loire, France. But the legend of the shroud dates back to AD 30 or 33. According to that legend, the shroud was transported to Judea, now southern Palestine, to Edessa, Turkey, and later to Constantinople, now called Istanbul. When Crusaders sacked Constantinople in AD 1204, the cloth was moved to Athens, Greece, where it was allegedly held until AD 1225. Man, when is my package ever going to show up?
En route.
En route. It's been in this location forever. It wasn't until the 1980s that researchers got their hands on the cloth to try to determine its true age using radiocarbon dating. They determined that the alleged burial cloth of Jesus was actually created between AD 1260 and AD 1390. In other words, the scientists determined that the cloth is most likely a medieval forgery.
What?
Imagine that.
The Catholic Church
Yes.
lie to people during the medieval times? My God, what will the church elders think?
However, critics of this research argue that the scientists may have dated newer portions of the shroud that were stitched together centuries after Jesus' death, which would explain why the shroud seems newer than it really is. Yeah.
It's actually some dude that was like trying to do a self-portrait.
It wouldn't surprise me because the Catholic Church had these things called relics.
Yes.
And if you
It was
visit-
like, hey,
yeah.
I got the Shroud of Turin, I got a piece of
yeah.
the one true cross. What do you want over here?
Yeah. Give me 3. You would pay to see or
Yeah.
touch these relics, and it would give you less. You would basically tick off time in purgatory. And this was another reason why the Reformation was so disruptive, because Martin Luther and other reformers came along and said, "This is wrong.
Right.
Like there's nothing in the Bible about this. Like you're stealing people's money." So the Shroud of Turin could very easily have been one of those.
I believe. Well, yeah, which I would believe.
I think they even claimed like breast milk and like bread from the Last Supper, and it was
Ugh, it was probably moldy as hell.
Yeah.
Actually became breast cheese.
Every town had a
This cheese was actually made
exactly. Yes.
from. I'm not even gonna finish. Never mind.
Okay.
It used to be milk, but time makes fools of us all.
Yeah. So it used to. That's the plaque. That's very British of you.
It was partway through there. It was yogurt, and they were like, "Oh, we gotta erase that."
That
It's
sounds
cheese.
It's no good. No, it's cheese now. Yeah, the relics. That's an interesting topic if you ever want to do some fun research. Gobekli Tepe. Humans first settled into permanence towns, farmed and then built temples in that order, starting at very specific, starting in 8000 BC, or did they? An amazing archaeological discovery made in 1994 at Gobekli Tepe, a rural area of Turkey, has blown that hypothesis apart, prompting new questions about the evolution of civilization. I feel like we get a disruption to the evolution of civilization every couple decades.
Yeah.
Where there's a new theory that pushes us
Yeah,
further
yeah.
back and further back and
Yep.
further back.
Turns out we had cars
Maybe.
that flew
Yeah.
around the time of Atlantis.
Around the time of Atlantis, yeah. Containing multiple rings of huge stone pillars carved with scenes of animals and dating to the 10th millennium BC, Gobekli Tepe is considered the world's oldest place of worship, yet evidence also suggests that people who built it were semi-nomadic hunters, likely unaware of agriculture. Just unaware of agriculture.
God.
Which followed it in
What
the
are we going
area.
to possibly eat?
Which followed in the area only 5 centuries later because of Gobekli Tepe. Archaeologists now have to ask which came first. Did building projects like this lead to settlement and not vice versa, as always thought?
I mean, it's possible you stop in a certain area, you build a temple to the sun or the stars or whatever.
Right.
You hunt until the food moves, and then you move with it, and then you build another temple, and so on and so forth. I mean, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Why no one would think to but what if we stored some of this crap?
Yes. And bred
They
the
probably
animals.
didn't have
nah.
the methods for storage.
Well, no,
Because food
Right.
storage
Yeah,
is
yeah.
very recent,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to say. Like
Well,
being able... Because I know someone just
Kind
got
of.
my eye.
Within the last 5,000 years. That's
Yeah.
the theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we progressed with the using a chilled storage area,
Yes.
insulation,
Yes.
using salt to preserve
Right,
certain
right.
things.
Yep.
And
Well, and that's one of the theories is that even when it comes to written language, is that you kind of require being in one place long enough. You need luxuries in order to have the time to develop things like written language. And so as a nomadic people, it's very difficult to settle down long enough to develop anything.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which is why, even in the early days of science, when science really started to flourish, it was the aristocrats, it was the wealthy who were investing in this pastime. And so, so you basically need the luxury of time and money and resources to develop food storage and things like that until somebody comes up with it in an easy manner. The Copper Scroll Treasure. Here's one archaeological mystery that we'd really like to solve. An ancient copper scroll discovered the site of Qumran in 1952, which is just outside of Jerusalem, might describe a massive amount of hidden gold and silver, but no one knows where the treasure might be or if it even exists. Let's go hunt it.
You wanna?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Let's go hunt for the treasure.
Want to start our own new podcast, the Copper Scroll Treasure Hunters.
Yeah. We're going to take our sweet time with it, too.
Oh, yeah. Just drag it out for
Just
years.
drag it
You're
out.
just gonna slowly walk down the road. Nope, not here.
Just
I haven't
like
seen
that.
it.
Just keep going.
There.
Nope, still nothing.
Yeah. If
I don't know what's going
If you guys
on.
like tried the desert,
It'd be funny if we actually found it, though. And they were like,
yeah. Wow.
did not see that coming.
Oh, what is that? Oh, look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Damn, we're good.
It took you guys this long. That's
Next
amazing.
Atlantis.
Did you not look left? You've got everything over here. It's right
Did
there.
you not look left?
Next, we're going to go find Atlantis, but we're just going to like start swimming. Nope.
We're snorkeling.
Yeah.
Nope.
Hey, look at that.
Hey guys, I just pulled up Google Earth. It's right there.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. King Tut's death. A few archaeological mysteries conjure up as much as excitement as this one: the mysterious mummy of the Egyptian boy pharaoh Tutankhamun. King Tut's tomb was unearthed in 1922. Actually, 1921, but they just resealed it in 1922. They did. They resealed it because they wanted to check it out. So they got in, resealed it, officially opened it in 1922.
I see. Okay.
By British Egyptologist Howard Carter, and tales of a pharaoh's curse that kills those who come near the tomb have circulated ever since. But the real mystery of King Tut's tomb are even more interesting than any curse. Archaeologists believe that the boy king died unexpectedly, perhaps from an infection or from injuries sustained in a chariot accident. Pretty well confirmed.
He got T-boned.
He got T-boned. His untimely death may help to explain the strange condition that his mummy was in when it was discovered. King Tut appears, I did read this, and this is really interesting. I didn't know this happened. King Tut appeared to have caught fire after his body was mummified and his tomb sealed. I'd pretty well say that's the sign of a curse on a tomb. Like, well, he's wrapped. just like, oh, okay, let's get out of here.
Well, no, say what
It's
happened
actually
was,
they started closing it, and there was a bit of flint, and it just sparked.
See, I would have said, because didn't they get trapped with their servants in the tomb too? So it'd be like,
Sometimes.
screw you.
Well-
Screw him. I'm lighting him on fire. I don't care.
I don't know if they did that with Tut, because he was considered. So when I believe it was Akhenaten took over after King Tut's death.
Sure, yeah.
Obviously,
Basically tried to erase King Tut and the other gods from Egypt.
Sure, yeah.
So he may not have cared enough to do that.
True.
It was like, just put him away. Let's forget him. Because if you look at King Tut's tomb, it's actually quite small and unopulent compared to the other tombs.
who knows? Maybe he's the one that went in, lit him on fire, and was like, "That's cursed. That's cursed. Clearly, we don't want to
Clearly,
be."
yeah.
the tomb. It's cursed.
Indeed.
King Tut appears to have caught fire after his body was mummified and his tomb sealed. Experts who have studied the mummy believe that the King Tut's linen wrappings, which were soaked in flammable embalming oils, may have reacted with oxygen in the air to start a chain reaction that ignited the king's corpse, cooking it at about 390 degrees Fahrenheit.
Jesus.
Yeah. A rushed burial was likely behind the botched embalming job that caused the fire. But the hasty burial of this royal figure also gives rise to another mystery. It's possible that King Tut's tomb was originally built for someone else. Yeah, actually, that and there may be other undiscovered mummies buried in the same tomb. What are we waiting for?
More dynamite?
More dynamite. More dynamite.
The last shipment was damp.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was damp.
More dynamite. More
Yeah.
nitroglycerin.
The Ark of the Covenant. Also a popular one. The Ark of the
This
Covenant
is the one from Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Indiana Jones and the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
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 I don't remember the titles of them, to be honest.
It was the first Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So the Ark of the Covenant is a gold-encrusted wooden chest that contains the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments, according to the Book of Exodus. In ancient times, this holy box was kept in the first temple, a Jewish place of worship in Jerusalem. But the first temple was destroyed in 587 BC by a Babylonian army led by King Nebuchadnezzar II. According to the Hebrew Bible, no one knows for sure what became of the Ark, though since its disappearance, many people, both real and fictional, have gone looking for it. So far, no one has actually found the holy relic, apart from Indiana Jones, of course. Some ancient reports say that the Ark made its way to Babylon after Nebuchadnezzar's sack of the city. Others say that the Ark was buried somewhere in Jerusalem, or that it was destroyed along with the first temple. Modern reports hint that the Ark resides in a monastery in Ethiopia.
I was gonna say, did we? I think we did that. We talked about it where they're like, "Yeah, we got it," and everyone was like, "Can we see it?"
Nobody's allowed to see it. Yep.
But trust us, we got it.
It's there.
Yeah, it's in Axum, Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And you basically have just priests guarding this like behind a fence inside a building. Mm-hmm. And nobody's allowed to see it.
Ninja priests.
Not even them?
Ninja priests.
Ninja priests.
Warrior priests guarding the Ark.
Can you go check on the Ark? Well, like, I can't look at it. Just yeah, it's still there.
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh
my God, it's gone. No,
there it is.
There it is. That's not.
And a recently translated ancient Hebrew text suggests that the Ark of the Covenant will simply reveal itself. Ooh. Though not until the day of the coming of the Messiah, son of David, Jesus.
It's like, here I am. Cool.
I've never actually heard that before, that the Ark would reveal itself.
Yeah, I have not heard that.
Interesting. We have talked about the Voynich manuscript before. The very strange book.
Once again, looks just like doodles.
Mm-hmm. Looks like doodles. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. It actually looks like my college notebook.
Well, yeah, it looks like any notebook of somebody who wants to create, who wants to world build.
Yeah.
You know?
It's part of my D&D campaign.
I'm going to create a new...
This is actually the first example of a D&D campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a cave.
That's the game board.
Yeah.
Right there. One of the most talked about books of the 20th century was an ancient text that no one could read. Discovered by an antique bookseller in 1912, the Voynich manuscript is a 250-page book written in an unknown alphabet and illustrated with a range of images from female nudes to, of course, to medicinal herbs and zodiac signs.
So it's just like my college notebook.
So I was...
What are you drawing? Boobs.
There's a line in The Good Place where they're like, why does like every time humans create something, they try to turn it into a sex thing?
Because
even the Voynich manuscript, this ancient mysterious text, has naked ladies. Right.
Naked ladies.
The book, which is currently housed at Yale University's Benek Rare Book and Manuscript Library, which I really want to go see now, dates back some 600 years and was likely written in Central Europe, according to researchers. While some scholars believe this book is simply a Renaissance-era hoax, like every other Renaissance-era thing, full of unintelligible words, there are some who think the book's text is written in an unknown language. Others believe the book lays out some kind of code that is yet to be cracked.
It's actually just someone who was really bad at writing and thought they were writing in a certain language, but they were not.
Like a crazy person.
Yeah. Or an uneducated.
And then they made a shroud. It was their like attempt at like t-shirt printing.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway,
goodness.
Yep. Yeah, the old Catholic Church would not like me. All right, so the hobbits. Some scientific discoveries are truly stranger than fiction. Case in point, in 2003, the discovery of hobbits on the remote Indonesian island of Flores. No, scientists didn't stumble upon a real-world version of the Shire, but they did uncover the bones of the petite ancient hominin, Homo floresiensis, which they quickly dubbed the Hobbit.
They should have called it Homo Frodo.
Homo Frodo.
Homo Frodo.
I like it. The first H. floresiensis skeleton.
Pretty sure that's a fanfic.
It's probably true.
Yeah. Ever discovered belonged to a 3.5-foot tall, 30-year-old adult female. At first, researchers believe the diminutive bones may have belonged to a human with microcephalia, a condition characterized by a small head and short stature. But later, discoveries of similarly sized skeletons suggest that the Hobbit isn't just a tiny human, it's its own species. Yet H. floresiensis, exact place in the family tree of hominins, human ancestors, is still a mystery. So there was an offshoot of humanoids who were tiny.
And had hairy feet.
And liked tobacco. Or pipe weed, as they like to call it. As those English. And fireworks, yes. Okay.
How many of those did they find, though? Did they find multiple?
A handful.
Okay.
It was a few.
Because whenever I see stuff like that, I'm like, you know that we have like people that. Imagine if like someone like we found the body, the skeleton of the world's tallest man.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Who was like 9 feet tall, and we were like, clearly it's an alien, and it's like
giants roamed the lands. Yeah. There's actually a really interesting video that breaks down how Goliath in the Bible may have actually
been someone like that.
Yeah, had gigantism.
Yeah.
And because it's strange because in the text it says, and they led him down the valley, which means he was not healthy.
They used the kites.
Yeah, but what it implies is that he was not like stable.
Yeah.
Right.
And that he like the story tries to portray him as this big intimidating figure when in reality he was just intimidating because he was big, but not because he was this like legendary warrior.
Right.
So he was basically used to just scare people.
Yeah. And David was just really self-conscious about his height, so he was like, I'm going to take down the big guy.
Yep, with a slingshot. All right. We'll skip ahead because there are a couple other findings. Yeah,
I didn't notice. No.
Oh, well, I'm surprised some of these are considered forbidden.
Well,
like some of them feel
it's
like
related to
it's an actual archaeological find.
Yes. Yeah. So the forbidden part comes from the conclusion. That's really what determines forbidden archaeology from non-forbidden archaeology. It's not like there are findings that no one's just allowed to talk about, although some people would claim otherwise. It's basically what your conclusion is what categorizes it as forbidden or not forbidden. Because if you walk into,
who decides that though?
That's the frustrating part.
The Illuminati.
Yeah, because it definitely does. Yeah. It seems like one of those ones where there's just one guy that goes, "No, I don't believe that's fake.
Basically,
it's forbidden. Don't ever talk about that. We're going to stone you."
You're
the
essentially
Council of Archaeologists.
Yes. Led by Indiana Jones, who's a real person.
He's a real person.
Real person. He's actually Harrison Ford. So, but that's the frustrating
Harrison
thing.
Ford, played by Indiana Jones.
That's the frustrating thing about archaeology.
Yeah,
is that you can study something independently and come up with your own conclusions, but if it's peer reviewed and the archaeological community disagrees with you, then you don't really have
any options past that.
Options past that. Yeah, you could actually lose your job with certain organizations because of your conclusions. People have lost their jobs.
Which is very weird because it's very Dark Ages.
Yes,
it is. Simply, no.
This is the status quo.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
It's never aliens.
Exactly.
Yeah. Humans go back this far, and you can push that a little bit. I think there were some American findings that actually push humanoids, like intelligent humans, back 100,000 years.
Right.
But which flies completely in the face of
then it becomes which one's forbidden? Like, do we allow this?
Right.
Like, do we not?
Exactly. Which is it's a pretty
such
touchy,
a weird field.
Mm-hmm. It is a strange field, and it's a new one too. Archaeology is not old. It started in the late 1800s. It actually just started as like anthropology. Basically, archaeology is just anthropology on ancient civilizations, and that's how it started. It was, we're going to study these people. Oh, hey, maybe we should study their past, and maybe, in the same manner. Which again was in the realm of aristocrats and wealthy people who had the time, and the money, and to travel. Yeah, basically that was it.
You start studying ancient civilizations. Why? I don't know. I got nothing else to do.
Another reason why lines on a thing might not be a thing. Right. It's just some guy that's bored.
Yeah, I got to fill my cabinets with stuff. Yeah.
Look at these skulls I found.
Yeah.
I'm a skull.
Look at this tiny one.
From an ancient.
It's really tiny one. Yeah.
I'm an ancient being. I'm another ancient being from an island.
Yeah.
The original puppet show.
Yes, aristocrats were very sophisticated and intelligent. Okay, Noah's Ark. Some things are so good you just want to discover them again and again. Like Noah's Ark, for example, the biblical boat has been discovered many times by many people.
It's true.
It's true, yeah.
I've got one in my backyard.
Yep. So in the text where it says, and it rested on Mount Ararat, it actually meant northern Colorado.
Yes, everybody knows that.
Yes. Yeah. Andy's backyard was the original text.
Read between the lines.
It's actually scribbled out.
Yeah. Yeah, it must have been Lex Luthor or something. Yeah. For centuries, amateur archaeologists from around the world have claimed to find evidence of the Ark on and around Mount Ararat in Turkey, which is where the boat came to rest, according to the book of Genesis. But some researchers doubt whether Noah's giant Ark was ever built. Like Atlantis, Noah's Ark is an archaeological mystery that will continue to be solved again and again, even though it might not exist. I'm really fascinated by all the theories surrounding Noah's Ark, because some of them claim that, okay, so the original story, as people will retell it, is that the entire world flooded.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes.
A more reasonable story, which one I might even subscribe to myself, is that the area flooded because it was the known world to them.
Right. Yeah.
And that Noah happened to be the one who had a boat, maybe, took his family onto the boat and survived that local flood, which I think is
more believable.
Yeah.
I like to think it was a dinghy, and he was like, all right, if anyone asks.
It's actually just a bucket that
was
didn't
like,
fill up with
this
water.
big and this big.
Yeah.
It's like, how big? How many feet? Like, that's not that big.
They're like, no, I could fit like 2 of each animal. It was big. Don't worry.
Yeah, and they came to me. Yes.
What happened to this boat? We broke it down.
Yeah, we broke it down. It's over there on that mountain.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Where can you not reach?
Yeah.
It's up there.
Mount Ararat. Yeah. But that doesn't explain, and it might explain how other ancient civilizations had flood stories.
Yeah, right.
And one of the theories is that people from the area who remember the flood traveled, spread across the earth,
you could see
carried
that,
the story with them.
And then it just kind of became history.
So, yeah, it's a very foggy story, but very likely did happen in some manner, in some regard, yeah. The Lost Maya. How does a civilization that thrived... After this one, I'm going to move over to a few different items. How does a civilization that thrived for the better part of 6 centuries just disappear? That's a mystery about the archaeologists working in southern Mexico and northern Central America have been trying to solve for decades. Around AD 900, the flourishing Mayan civilization collapsed, but the reasons for this downfall are unclear. Scientific studies suggest that drought may have played a key role in the fall of the Maya, as the Maya cleared forests to make way for bigger cities and farmland. They may have inadvertently worsened the frequent droughts that were their undoing, according to a study published in the journal Science in 2012. Other researchers speculate that soil degradation and declining prey populations contributed to the end of the Maya. Still, other experts note that shifting trade routes, as well as internal political conflicts, likely hurried the demise of the once great empire. What is strange about this?
I'm surprised plague wasn't on there.
Plague, yeah.
Like, because that's usually a big fall of a civilization back then, because it's not even like you have something. You're just like, oh crap, people are dying.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're all very close together.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you're in like a small building with a lot of people, and
that's one of the reasons why the Black Plague spread so quickly, is because poor living conditions.
Yep.
And people were very close together.
Yeah.
So, okay. These are 3 other forbidden archaeological findings. This is actual forbidden archaeology.
Okay. What
that I wanted to touch on. Yeah, that is what you think it is.
All right.
All right. See, the Fuente Magna bowl. So the top image is from Pumapunku. The bottom image is from Sumeria, cuneiform. One of the most important discoveries, which contradicts numerous mainstream theories, is the Fuente Magna bowl, discovered in South America. This controversial artifact was discovered near Tiahuanaco, which is covered a lot in Ancient Aliens. If you've ever watched Ancient Aliens, that area is covered a lot. And Lake Titicaca, by a local farmer in the 1950s. Written onto the mysterious bowl is Sumerian cuneiform and Proto-Sumerian hieroglyphs. This is crazy. Why? Because according to researchers, Sumerians and the ancient people who inhabited Tiahuanaco and Pumapunku were never connected. So how come Sumerian cuneiform and Proto-Sumerian hieroglyphs are all over the Fuente Magna bowl? It is interesting. That's obviously a rewind button.
Yes.
See, the top one looks like it's actually old. The bottom one looks photoshopped.
Well, the Sumerian cuneiform tablets are actually in incredible condition for how old they are. Yeah.
Okay.
This bowl was probably used for things.
Right.
And in my opinion, it's probably just designs. It's just patterns.
Right.
That just happens to maybe
look
how
very
close
similar.
or how far away? are those two locations? Because it could also be simply like someone got exiled
My
and then
guess would
found their way and
be
just
12,000 miles.
Okay, so like
it's a good way.
a good distance that
it's a
like
good distance,
someone getting from one spot to another or the language traveling that distance is very
maybe
unlikely.
not 12,000. Probably more like 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still a good amount of
Yeah.
distance.
Yeah, it's
for
not
not
cruise.
having cars or anything.
Yeah.
Like no real transportation.
Right.
Right. Well, you got.
I mean, they hadn't even discovered running.
The thing is, you or nose goes.
Or nose goes.
So, but you also have this huge, massive ocean between these two locations.
Yeah.
All right. So, a 38 centimeter long finger.
That just looks like a big turd.
No, you got the nail right there.
Oh yeah, I can kind of see it.
Yeah. Okay. This
I can
enigmatic
kinda see
object
it.
was discovered in Egypt, and according to reports, it's real and even has a certificate of authenticity and X-ray images.
Well, if it comes with a certificate.
Get your own 38 centimeter long finger, certified from Egypt. Yeah.
It's signed by King Tut himself.
Ooh.
The image in this article was taken in 1988 and published by one of Europe's leading newspaper, whatever. The object is a huge mummified humanoid finger of 38 centimeters in length. Researchers from Egypt believe that it had to belong to a creature that was over 5 meters in height. Researchers have mixed feelings when it comes to this mysterious ancient relic. The biggest problem is that the finger does not fit into any conventional theories presented by archaeologists or historians. Simply put, it is impossible, forbidden archaeology.
I wonder how big a gorilla's hands are. Because it
Not
could
that
like
big.
that
Not that big.
Yeah. That's
like even like a
that's
silverback?
massive.
Yeah, no, that's huge.
That's
Well, like the thickness of it looks very
Yep.
ape-like.
Yeah.
So
I mean, maybe it was a massive ape that went
right,
extinct.
it was an ape with
was
gigantism.
It was a great white ape from Barsoom who crash landed on our planet. That's Mars
Yes.
for anyone who knows John Carter.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, it crashed landed on a planet. They killed it. They cut off his finger. I got you.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
Great.
I'm glad you understood.
I
what
like,
Yeah,
us.
I got where
I
you're
like
coming
our
from.
theories more. Archaeologists need to have more fun.
I know, right?
Yeah. It's so boring.
It's so boring and factual.
Archaeologists are just like, all right, how long of a title can we give this random rock?
Let's do it in Latin. Isn't that a dead language? Nah, screw it. Let's do it anyway.
So I met with my team of archaeologists, and as usual, they came up with a boring explanation for things. Why can't it just be aliens once?
They were like, they said people made it. It's like, come on.
Come on.
Jeez, come up with something original.
Ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs in Australia. Located in Australia, at the Brisbane Water National Park, Carryong researchers have discovered numerous hieroglyphs which shatter mainstream history and patterns. It is another discovery that, according to many scholars, is impossible. It must therefore be a hoax. That's what I love about established archaeology.
It's a hoax.
Every time,
Yeah.
if it doesn't fit your already kind of established theories, obviously a hoax. It has to be a hoax.
Because there's no way people traveled that far.
No.
It didn't happen,
Yeah.
Dan.
Yeah.
Never.
All the Easter Island
We've
statues,
definitely never.
hoax.
It's a hoax, actually. Those
Made
are
for TV.
Those are actually all paper mache.
Paper mache.
Did you not know that?
Yeah.
They're actually ice cream
Yeah.
cakes.
I thought it was an ancient race of civilization that just
Actually, it's an
went to
old
sleep.
movie set.
Big heads.
It's an old movie set, and they just left it there. All right.
I wonder if that would be... that could work.
Yeah. Not only do many it was an independent film, so there's no record of it.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
Bollywood, too.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
Bollywood.
well,
Yeah. Not only do many researchers believe these glyphs are authentic, the scribes accurately used several ancient hieroglyphs and grammatical variations, which crucially were not even documented in Egypt hieroglyphic until recent times. Interestingly, scholars managed to translate the hieroglyphs, and not only are they authentic, the scribes accurately used several ancient hieroglyphs. Oh, why did they do that?
Yeah, that's weird.
Why did they do that? Yes, because you should quote the entire paragraph that you're about to read.
Yes.
So we've covered a lot of mysteries in archaeology. Next week we are actually going to talk about actual forbidden archaeology and the things that are suppressed by mainstream archaeology. I just wanted to kind of cover some of the more kind of lighter,
Right.
More mysterious
more
ones that aren't
mysterious
necessarily
ones.
like withheld.
Yeah. So any thoughts?
A lot of this, a lot of it sounds like people that are don't want to believe that certain things are possible back then. Like it's people that seem like they want to go, no, there's clearly no way someone was able to build a boat back then and end up over here.
Yep.
Because it's just do you not understand what we've done?
Right.
Because human nature is human nature. They clearly did it back then, just with different tools and like stuff like that. And so a lot of this, I'm just...
Well, the thing is in academia, you discover something. Like, let's say in the Fertile Crescent, you discover the oldest record for that area of agriculture. And then you write it in a book, you get it published, peer reviewed, everything checks out, and you basically determine that agriculture started 5,000 years ago. And then someone else discovers something somewhere else that claims that agriculture started much earlier, or even in the same area. The first explanation is hoax, or, well, this doesn't fit the current theory. Exactly. That's the point. It doesn't fit the current theory.
Exactly.
Because when you made this current theory, when you established this current theory, when it was first established, it was a new theory. Like, it didn't fit whatever convention you had at that time either. So,
and when it comes down to it, you really can never know unless you went back in time.
Exactly.
Which I do all the time.
Well, clearly.
Well, using Atlantis.
He's actually a time-traveling battle priest ninja.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Obviously.
That's why we have him here.
He's protecting us.
Yes.
Turns out the Ark and the Covenant was the friends we made along the way.
I thought you were going to quote Friends for a second. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so any other... What do you... I don't know. What do you think about a lot of these?
I mean, to me, it's just like it's stuffy people who don't want to admit certain things or don't feel comfortable thinking outside of their own box.
Or maybe even afraid of losing their jobs.
I mean, also true. Yeah.
What would people think?
Yeah. So, I don't really know.
Yeah. What do you think? Where is the Ark? Where is...
No, we're actually
It's
asking
actually
if you could put it in the
all
comments.
in one spot.
Where
All of it?
Where are the Arks?
It's all in the Bermuda Triangle.
So the Ark of the Covenant is sitting inside Noah's Ark,
Yes.
inside the Bermuda Triangle,
Yes.
which is above Atlantis.
Yes.
Yes.
And the Noah's Ark was piloted by Bigfoot.
Yes. And they took his finger.
And they took his finger. Perfect.
And-
I would watch that movie, by the way.
And it was manned by hobbits.
Sure.
Well,
The tiny people.
Obviously.
Wait a second.
Yep.
No, it was a hobbit.
In Willy Wonka, doesn't he go to an indigenous island and that's where the Oompa Loompas are? The newer one, not the original.
I think you might be right.
I'm pretty sure in the newer one with Johnny Depp, he like goes to like an island and he's like cutting through and there's like Oompa Loompas around.
Hey guys, you want a job?
You want to make candy?
You want to make candy? That was a
murder children.
movie.
And murder
That was a
children.
bad
Well,
movie.
no. Let them die in front of you while you sing a song.
That is true.
It's like that kid's choking. Let's sing a jig. He's a dying.
Yeah, that's a
Oompa
terrible movie.
Loompa.
All right, we
That's
are
what's up.
1 minute, 21, 22, 23 seconds over our
Stop
time.
counting so we can end the show.
So
3
let
hours
us
later.
know. Yeah, let us know what you think about forbidden archaeology. If there are any like really strange archaeological findings that we didn't mention, I'm sure there's 100 of them. Let
Maybe
us know
even
what they
more
are.
than 100.
It's possible.
No,
102.
that doesn't fit my current
doesn't fit.
theory.
If you
That's
know-
now forbidden.
Mysteries. Yes, that's how forbidden
I'm
it
a
is.
If you
Forbidden
know the
archaeology.
location of Noah's Ark or the Ark of the Covenant, please leave it in the comments below.
Yeah.
So we can check it out.
We'll open a gift shop. Thank you for watching this episode of Conspiracy Cast, a title that may be changing soon, very likely. Dan, where can they find you?
They can find me at Dante Producer on Twitter and Instagram or Dante Streamer on Twitch.
Andy.
Gary. They can find me at Brian the Indie on Instagram.
Yep.
And
you
that's
can, you can find me on Twitter at Film Circuit and on Instagram at Northwood Films. And that's it. Bye, fools.
Bye, punks. You forbidden.
You forbidden punks.